Order 6:32. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Patty Sickles here. Yeah.
Now, Paul in there? Now, Snow Claydham?
Nicole Huntress here.
Sierra Connell here. Christine Newman here. We're going to skip 4 and 5 because that was committed for Tracy. So we'll hold off the table when she's here. Anybody get to see the minutes yet?
Yes. I don't step over.
Everyone's good with it. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes for October 20th.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Any discussion at all? Versus anything?
No.
So we'll approve it. All of this, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Who seconded it? Sorry.
I didn't.
Thank you. What, you guys ready for the school to the breakfast?
Sure.
We'll let you guys go ahead, do your thing, get you guys going.
And I do have copies of this. I'll take copies of these.
Copy. I had my remarks on.
Oh, I have this one. Oh, it's okay. Whatever you'd like.
Yeah, I'll go. They're sending to because we're not, so.
Well, thank you very much for this time, this opportunity to present the budget. I know this is going to be repetitive for some of you. Very grateful that you came to our school board meeting, but I think it's always helpful to present again regardless. And please stop me at any time if you have questions. I'm happy to present this on behalf of the school board and the district, just to walk through the sections of the draft proposed budget. This is the PowerPoint that we presented, and this walks you through the actual budget document. So I think you have a copy of that as well. It should say draft at the top. So the first thing I want to mention is the way that the software works. When you see the kind of in all caps at the end of the section, that's the subtotal of that section. So the first one, I think, says regular programs at the bottom of the first page. So that's how you see, that's the whole first section. It's not at the top of that section, it's at the bottom, and that shows you the subtotals of the budget for that section. So the timeline for our budget review, as I said, the preliminary budget review that the districts we presented to the school board was at their school board meeting last Wednesday. And tonight we're presenting to you for the budget committee. And I know that the board wants all of your input, share your input, and then they take that input, and the full board needs to consider, review, and vote for a final adoption at their December meeting. If they need more time, they can also vote at their January meeting, but that would be the last opportunity to adopt the final So first things, before I get into the document section by section, I want to just give you an overview of the major budget drivers of this whole thing. So the majority of the increases are contractual obligations. And this year, there are several contractual obligations that I want to bring to your attention. So the first being is special education. So we've experienced a very high increase of special education, first of all, needs, and then the costs have increased exponentially. So between tuition, that's out-of-district payments, contracted services, so that can include behavior therapy, speech therapy, psychological evaluations, those contracted services, as well as specialized transportation. That full increase comes to $775,000. And I can get into that more specifically. I have that broken down on a separate document when we get to that point. The next major budget driver is the teacher's contract. So you might recall the community approved the teacher contract, and so the increase for the teacher's contract is $50,750 this year. And then the other two big contracts that were approved by the voters last March, one is for the Governor Wentworth SAU services, and the other one is for Governor Wentworth tuition, so grades 7 through 12. So SAU services, this is a formula. So when the expenditures increase at the SAU, that's the increase for SAU services. Just looking a year behind as far as how much was expended, that percentage is how much the SAU service contract increases. This year, for starting next year, would be $56,000. Tuition is 7 through 12 at Kingswood Regional Middle School and High School. The total is $108,000. And so we can get into that more specifically as well, but that is the 10-year agreement. Included in that 10-year agreement is a 5-year phase-in plan to get to the per pupil cost at grade 7 through 12. So it was delayed this year. They decided, the Governor Wentworth and Middleton boards agreed upon the contract that the increase didn't start this current year that we're in, so they delayed it a year. And then over the next 5 years, it will increase all the way up to the per pupil cost at the end of those 5 years, which would be at the 6th year of the 10-year contract. The nurse position. So the nurse position, we have a Huggins, this is kind of the opposite, it's ending a contract, where we've had a contract with Huggins to employ all of our nurses, one being at Middleton, the others at all the other Governor Wentworth, at the Governor Wentworth schools. Huggins is releasing us from that. It is not feasible for them to offer us contracts for nurses any longer. They notified us of that last year. They gave us 2 years kind of notice for that. So that's something that where we will be looking to hire a district employee or a school employee to be a nurse at the elementary school. That position is recognized in the teacher contract. So that's something that, they would have the rights and the benefits of that teacher's contract. The health insurance, I'm happy to share. We were told before that it could be anywhere from, I think it was 4% to 35%, and the average being 17-point-something percent, and it came in at 9.4. Is that correct? So it came in at 9.4% increase. Still an increase, of course, but less than we were, than the average, than we thought, so we're happy to report that. So those are the major budget drivers of the whole proposed budget. Now, the wages are always the vast majority of school district budgets can be anywhere from 85 to 90%. The wage overview in this budget, you'll see there's wages in several sections. The majority are in the regular programs, but they're also in special education, custodial, technology, and bus drivers, so in transportation. So wages are in different sections, and I'll cover that. You won't see food service, however, because that's a whole separate program that's self-sustaining. So you won't see our food service supervisor or the food service assistant in this budget. The teachers have their own increase according to their CBA. However, the non-union staff, which includes paraprofessionals, the support staff, admin assistant, main office, and principal, we've proposed a 3.3% increase because that's what we found as a cost of living for the region. But certainly that is that's an increase that we're proposing. Okay. So now I'll turn to the budget document itself. The first section being regular programs. The regular programs are on page 1. The regular programs is on page 1. This covers teacher and substitute wages and benefits. As I mentioned, that line that says tuition regular, that's year 1 of the 5-year phase-in toward the per pupil cost at government. So the first 10-year agreement and this current year was significantly less than per pupil. 14 something per student, per Middleton student, historically over the past 10 years, now 10 and a half years. Per pupil at Governor Wentworth is much higher than that. It's going to be around 24,000, I believe, 25,000. And I can just share with you that there are other tuition contracts that Governor Wentworth has engaged in, one with Wakefield, one with Freedom. They're not the same as yours in that, we're your SAU. They have their own SAU offices and services and such, but they are engaged. They have MOUs and tuition agreements with Governor Wentworth, and they are charging them for people. So that was part of the kind of equity conversation that Governor Wentworth District had as far as charging any incoming districts, sending districts the per pupil amount. We struck a deal in that it's a 5-year phase-in process. It's not instant to make it easier to phase in. So that's the tuition regular line. And based on student projection, we calculated $108,171.04. Also in the regular program section, supplies are level funded, not asking for additional supplies. The workbooks, slight increase to purchase the workbooks needed for the curriculum. We're also asking for $2,000 to continue the chair replacement cycle. Seems like a very, very new school, but chairs definitely experience those wear and tear after 10, 11 years. So the next function, 1200, is special education. It begins at the bottom of page 1, and it goes on through page 2, right to the very bottom. Right to the very bottom of page 2. The title is at the bottom of page 2. So in special education, there are some wages. We have 3.5 special education teachers. That includes half-time preschool. They're included in the teacher contract. We have all the paraprofessionals are special education staff. So they all serve and fulfill those special education services, whether they're one-on-one or they are a shared para, which is what it's called when it's for more than one student. Contracted and professional services in this section is for speech, occupational therapy, physical therapy, behavioral services and support. The tuition-LEAs, that is support and services for grades 7 through 12. This is, I will note that we're proposing a special case manager, but we're going to propose that in a separate warrant article. So the DPT, diagnostic prescriptive teacher, we're proposing that separately. So like last year, the town can vote on that separately and determine if that's something that, is a good fit for the town at this time.
Would that be, if that was voted yes, that would then go into the regular budget after that?
It would,
And then that would be a union position? And then they would fall under the union
that's right.
scale?
That's right. It would fall under the union scale. It would be a special education certified teacher. So that's correct. And then tuition dash private, that's for the out-of-district placements. So we have a few students in out-of-district placements, and so that's that tuition. I do have that broken out. If you would like the special. That's a big line. I'm going to give it to you to take off. So I'm going to just not be able to get that apart.
Take.
And there's a wages for special education, and that includes any new positions.
Not this year. Yeah. We did have to hire 2 new paraprofessionals. We had to contract them out because we could not fill the positions.
So
And this was due to 2 new movements.
are the contracted paras, are they employees of the town or are they like?
Currently not.
Okay.
Are you still looking to fill those positions?
That would be ideal. That would be ideal because it is a lot less expensive.
Is it a 30-day contract?
You mean oh, I see. You mean the contracted one? I would have to check that for you, like when you could exit it.
Just so that you keep that position open and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, ideally, we have people who we hire who are our employees because it is, it's more cost efficient. It's, someone who is part of our community and part of the district. But if we can't fill the position, then we have to go to contracted services. They cost more. And, it's from a different, it's an outside service provider, so they're not as connected to the school. So we prefer not to, but it is legally required, in an IEP. So
How many staffed paras do we have right now currently?
to check.
On the staff. That's not,
Not, 7 and 3 of 7 employees, paras, and 3 are contracted.
So is it 10 total? Okay. And out of all of the paras that we have, how many of them are certified as paras versus just getting hired and on-the-job training?
That's a good question.
I don't know that, I would have to go back to HR to see that.
And then do you have, so one of the things that we requested was the salaries for all of the staff, but then the hourly rate. So if somebody was a salary, obviously you just put the whole lump sum, and if their hourly rate, have their hourly pay, but we didn't get that. Do you
I
have
sent
that
it to you
available?
this afternoon when you asked for it. So I had originally sent it without the hourly rate, and then I responded to you and I sent it with the hourly rate.
Oh, okay, so I can,
Yep.
it's in my emails.
Yes, it
My
is.
500 emails.
Yep.
Perfect. And then are you, or has the board addressed the pay for everybody that's non-union when it comes to, because as of last year, all of the parents, whether they had
no experience at all, or whether they had 10 years experience for making the same thing. So have you guys addressed that, come up with a pay scale to fix that? Just because moving forward, you guys are gonna constantly have a revolving door. Because let's face it, anybody who's got X money as experience is not gonna appreciate working side by side with somebody who has no experience being the same. And it's gonna be hard to have retention, but then also it would hopefully address the lack of not addressing everybody's pay appropriately, so we don't have at the 11th hour a whole section of the school coming to you saying, we're about to walk because we're not being paid enough. And then at the 11th and a half hour, you guys are adjusting their pay, which is then throwing the budget off a bit more. So have you guys addressed that yet?
We are meeting with the bus drivers to talk with them about their salaries, to see if we can come up with some sort of pay scale for them, or what they're looking for, and kind of see if there's any way to do that. We haven't been approached by the paras to do that since they came to us last time. I think that the goal will be to try and do that for the bus drivers for this budget, and then do that for the paras for the next budget.
I would strongly suggest that you become a bit more proactive in doing it, because, and then also when you consider the pay scale, the certified versus non-certified, as a taxpayer and everything, I would hate to hear of somebody who has no experience, no certifications at all is getting paid top dollar versus somebody who's got all the education and everything else, because we're just going to keep hitting this cycle of people, of the revolving door. And then that's how, and then you guys end up just throwing more money at the problem versus addressing the problem like appropriately. So that's my 2 cents on
Any other questions?
So are we supposed to wait till the end to ask our questions?
Whenever.
Good. So, just a question on the tuition. Right now, you're saying we're paying like $14,000 per pupil. So does that mean our budget for fiscal 25, we had a built-in for 2 pupils because you guys returned $28,251 for the tuition line? So are we building in a buffer for like 1 middle school, 1 high school?
Yes, I'm building in one extra slot. Obviously, the higher the tuition cost goes for you, the more liable your fragile budget could be if you don't budget for 1 for each. And obviously, each billing cycle, each time the district, Governor Wetmore builds Middleton, it goes by the student count. So if you lose 2 students at the end of the school year,
That goes down.
right, exactly. So you're billed for actual students at that time.
Okay. My next question is, so it looks like we are trying to go from 3,000 in the spend legal line to 7,000. But we paid 3 Dead River bills out of the spend legal line. Not sure why we were paying.
I pulled all the bills and I made sure that the budget for sped for next year and in correspondence with the special education director to get her feel input. Obviously, she lives and breathes it every day. That'll be, it needs to be, to go up.
I don't know, because the amount that's left in there is still like, and what was adjusted out of that line doesn't match what was paid to Dead River. So I mean, just throwing that out there. But right, that's all I have for now.
Also, the 91A that I requested and that was spoken about many times, I only got the month of June and July. So I was expecting to, when I opened up the file, not to have like 44 pages, I was expecting to have like a lot. And I'm just not,
You supplied us with 2 USPs, correct? So the first USP was for the current budget that we're in right now and the detailed transactions. Then you provided us with a second one because you said you wanted last year's detailed expenditures. And that's what I did provide you when we stated we were going
so the
to.
44 pages is all of the expenditures for the whole year, for last year? Because I
Tell
specifically,
you whether or not, I did it myself. So when I copied from the software system from last year's expenditures on the second USB that went down through, to Julie, through the bus drivers, is what you got. And the bottom line, I made sure that the budget and the actual expenditures matched the system. So what I gave you was the final from last year.
So the 44 pages is all of the expenditures?
I literally did not see how many pages were in.
I was just expecting, because when I've asked for it in the past, I've been told, oh, it's going to be 500 pages, it's going to be 400 pages, it's going to be so huge, it's going to, you know.
It couldn't be sent through email. I
I-
told you it couldn't.
Well, I know, but what I found kind of interesting was the fact that it was 44 pages, and I was able to like email it off and share it with everybody.
Our email server is different than yours.
I get it, but I'm just wondering, it's like, is that all the information? Because what I'm seeing is like,
The budget match and the expenditures match, that's all I can tell you. I verified the bottom line. I don't know how else I can explain that those were the transactions.
so the transactions, all the ones for like Catholic charities, what is that?
Capital charities is federal funds.
So was that was money that we paid out to Catholic charities because it said,
Oh, no, I apologize, I thought you were talking about Catholic charities as in federal grants that come in, because we do have New Hampshire charities that come in. No, Catholic, I have to go back and look, I don't have that in the tip of my fingers. If you want to highlight or identify that for me and send information to me, I can certainly look into it.
and then also, before Scott Ferguson left the school board as chair, he signed the contract with the SAU for the tuition and everything with the previous, and it was supposed to stay the same from what I was told. So why is it now not?
So what the two board chairs signed that year, I believe it was the end of 2023, is in the contract language, it states that the two boards shall agree to, and if they choose to, shall sign that they will proceed 1 year before the end of the contract. And that is all that signature was. It was like 2 lines on a piece of paper that says both boards agree to proceed with the tuition contract. 2 chairs sign it. The purpose of that signature was that so then they can take the year to create the contract and negotiate in time. Because if you do all of that and then one side is saying, I never wanted to proceed with this, that wouldn't be in good faith, that wouldn't be helpful to either side. But they didn't sign the contract a year early. So they both signed to agree to proceed, and then that year is when they negotiated.
The notice of intent to.
There was a new chair, and actually the new chairs on both sides, then engaged in negotiations. So it is listed in the teacher's contract, in the school care, and the healthcare plan, and the board, so these notes are public now, the board and the teachers union met, and they, discussed options. The options would be to explore another risk pool, to explore private insurance, even to be self-funded, self-insured, and they agreed to not make changes at this time. The teachers union consulted with all their members, and they're happy with their health insurance, so they were not interested in changing. We also had the attorney present, and the attorney shared that it would be a 2-year endeavor if you were to, or if anyone chooses to explore different health options. Further, the other options are more expensive. There's really the long and the short of it. There are other school districts districts around who are looking into different alternatives.
Mhm.
But, you know, the point of the risk pool is so that you can maximize the economy of scale, so it's not just, you know, one district on its own. And so the risk pool are the most economical of all the options they determined. So they did have a meeting and discussed that.
So how long has the CBA been for? 3 years, so we have 2 more school years with this. But I can guarantee you, in 2 years, when this is out, it's not gonna pass the town with wording, if the school's not gonna look into or get the teachers on board with looking outside of this plan, because who knows, in a few years, how much money do we owe to school care because we weren't paying enough into it or whatever. So, and in fact, my employer, who is a municipality, we just switched over from the health trust in the state that I work in, and we actually we're saving $20,000 a year, we're much bigger and all that stuff. So I would beg to differ in the fact that it's more expensive to look outside of school care. And it just, you know, I mean, I get it, it's a good plan for the teachers. They get to pick and choose whatever they want on it from the CBA, so,
It's great, it's a one-sided deal,
Yeah,
honestly.
absolutely.
It really hurts the taxpayers and it hurts the kids because the money's gonna get cut from somewhere. And then ultimately, it's gonna get cut from the kids because there's so many contracted lines, and especially with the union being so heavily contracted in a majority of the budget, it's gonna affect the kids. So if everybody on the school side wants to preach, this is all about the kids and we care and love the kids, they need to meet us in the middle and be reasonable, because we pay a very large portion of their health insurance, and it is very costly on the taxpayers. For what they pay in 1 year for a family plan, my husband and I pay in 3-4 months. And that's on top of co-pays, deductibles. My deductible is what they pay in a year for a family plan. So if you want to try to pull at my heartstrings and feel bad for them, I don't, because I'm paying for them and for my own family. And I think a discussion needs to be had with them of saying, you gotta meet us in the middle, because you can't have it all.
It is essential to have a good negotiation process, you know, and so that will happen in another year, 2 years. Absolutely, both sides need to come to the table to negotiate. So that's, health insurance is always a big topic of negotiations. But it really all comes down to, at the end of the day, it comes down to the salary schedule and health insurance, so absolutely.
Especially where they did get the salaries that they
Absolutely.
wanted. And that was my thing. I was all for their salaries, and I supported their salaries, but they need to give up a little bit of something. And
They got the salaries they wanted after we went back and redid it again. So
The point is, they got them.
at the same time, though, the teachers won out on this CBA at the end of the day, no matter which way you look at it. They screwed the town, and the school board screwed the town on allowing it to not, like, you built this in at a 90%, so we can't even do a warrant article to try to move that, because you locked us in at the town pays 90% of their health insurance. So we can't even, we have no wiggle room at all as even a town to do anything to kind of recoup any sort of money on our side, you know. And I will say, I feel like for the time that I've been on this budget committee, I have been for the school through and through for everything. And this year, I am not. I am disgusted with our school board. I think you guys have handled this whole thing terribly, absolutely terribly. And the fact that we have our own SCU, and I understand we contract with them, but at the end of the day, the school board needs to take the reins and direct them to what they need to do and have them do it. Have them put bids out for, and I'm not even talking about health insurance, I'm talking about all the other things that we possibly could do, and instead of just saying, well, Governor Wentworth, Kingwood, they do it, so we're just gonna follow their. I mean, that's gotta stop at some point, because Middleton can't afford to keep seeing the increases that we're seeing from school. It's just, it is the way that it is.
And I think people need to remember too, is I was looking up with the census reports of, average household income and everything. For the town of Middleton, I looked and I got two numbers. They were within like 10,000 of each other. One said it was like 80 to 198,000. The other one was like up to 110. But that's household income. So that's on average 2 incomes per house. And you've got to look at how the market and the economy is going. I mean, a few people at this table were barely living on one income for well over a month. I mean, if we start hitting more of a recession and people start losing their jobs, you're now taking like $100,000 household and you're putting it at best maybe 50,000. And that's going to really kill this town. So to have this very large, extravagant budget because we're trying to keep up with the Joneses, we can't do it. We cannot do it. We have a very large population of empty nesters, fixed income people, and then we've got another group that's creeping up that are young families starting out. And we're going to choke both of those groups if we are not more cognitive of this budget. The town, I put a warrant article in for a budget, 2% budget cap. Very easily could happen with the school side. I'm for it and against it. I'm for it because somebody has to take the reins and be the adult with the spending, but I'm against it because it's going to screw the kids directly. Because all those contracted lines are going to have to get fulfilled. We can't mess with the union contract because it's a legal document. So where are you going to end up having to cut? The kids. So, I mean, I hardly ever hear anything about grants with the school. I know there are grants out there. I've looked into them being on the PTO. Are you guys looking at, like, who's in charge of looking for grants, thinking outside the box and trying to come up with other solutions for spending?
Well, I'm only an agent to this, so if you want me to keep going, I can certainly explain more. I wouldn't characterize the work that we do on top of Middleton in the same way. Just wanted to share that. It's not extravagant, it's not haphazard, it's not trying to keep up with the Joneses. We keep it very separate. Kathy outlined all the ways that we do go out to bid for every single contract that we have in the budget at the last school board meeting, so we're happy to go into that further, including electricity, snow plowing, you name it. There's a story behind every single one. So for grants, we have, there are federal grants and there are entitlement grants and then there are competitive grants. So for the federal grants, you have special education. It's an entitlement grant. We squeeze every penny out of that for special education. Title II is for professional development. Title IV is for safety. And so, yes, we use every penny that the government gives us, which is less now, in order to offset some of the other things that are just legally required. So that is something that we manage. We manage all the grants. Competitive grants are, no one is in charge of that. Whoever has a minute to apply for a grant, we do that. There are so many different kinds of grants. There are literacy grants. There's environmentally focused grants. You have to qualify in different ways. Definitely we have our eyes out for that. Of course we want to bring more of those grants into Middleton. So it's we have safety grants right now. The state just issued round 4, I believe, of the safety grants. Middleton is going to be part of that, applying for some pieces for safety grant. They're allowing for additional cameras, lights, different alerting mechanisms around the school for safety. We're applying for all of that. Some of that is for some bollards in the front to protect the school. I think some reflective, film in the windows qualifies. We can apply for up to $150,000 per school. This was just announced a couple weeks ago. They gave us some months to apply for that. IB is part of that, putting all of that in. We have to get quotes from our technology and from maintenance and our staff in order to put the quotes in to apply for it. So all these things are happening. If you have questions about if things are happening, I encourage you, just to ask us. We want to keep the discourse respectful and assume best intentions, because we're not here to just, create a terrible budget for this town. We're here to share as much information as possible. And I wish there were more regulations on special education services, actually, because those go up 5% every year. And it's hard to find people, it's hard to find placements, and it's hard to find specialized transportation. So we're at the mercy for that, and sometimes that's the vast majority of the increase in here. We have to keep hiring people. We have to keep paying for it because that's what's most important. But okay, any other questions before I go?
Do we anticipate any new positions for 26, 27 years?
I don't think we're not proposing any other than that case manager in a separate warrant article. So we're not
So
proposing.
that will be part of this line.
Correct. That's separate because we thought it would be better for the overall budget to do it separately. And then the town can vote on that. They did last year. They did not approve it last year, so that's fine. And they can, they can vote on that separately if it's approved or otherwise no.
I'm just curious, what was the exact increase for the $200,000+ extra?
Which line are you talking about?
The wage line first.
Something one.
Oh, I think an increase of $203,000. I have the staff listing, so there was some change in staff, but we had to add two more special educators this year. Here, and I did put a small amount of the, I want to make sure I have my list right here. And for parents, I think I put that in 1100. But I did put substitute pay in based on what we spent last year. I didn't fully budget what we spent last year, but I did put in substitute pay for support staff and for teachers.
How much is budgeted just for substitutes?
30,000,
How much was used last year?
48,000.
And so, okay, I'm a little surprised by that, just for the fact that all I keep hearing is every time, like, a teacher was out in my son's class, and he has a one-to-one and written in his IEP, there were many times where the teacher was out and it was just the pair or one teacher in the room, because the pair was a substitute. So I'm not
Part of what the parents requested is that they be paid the substitute rate when they are doing that, and that was approved. So they're, getting paid that rate as opposed to the lower $20 an hour they would get.
So does that have any effect on my daughter's grade? When their teacher is out, and they can't get a substitute, the other third grade teacher would teach between the classes. So were they paid at a higher rate too for this as a sub for that other class, or just their normal pay rate, just their regular
Correct me
rate?
if I'm wrong, but if they're a teacher, they're going to pay their salary.
I wasn't sure if they'd get extra because now they're doing 2 classes, and I know what's happening again this year as well. So
There was a long-term sub, which always is more than just an average person coming off the street. So that took up.
Right.
So there was,
Oh.
that's,
Or what, yeah, I remember that one thing. Or was that the year before? I thought it was even the year before that, I'm
I'm
thinking.
sorry, Matt, you said 30,000 for the substitute.
Yeah.
yes.
But you spent, well, but you sent 18,000 over.
But you have no control over how teachers are gonna be out and be.
No, I get it,
I looked at it to try to see that there was an anomaly. I'm not gonna fully, you know,
did we, I'm not trying to attack, I'm just trying to understand, because for so long, we just get so many vague question answers, and then a lot of times, a lot of the answers that we get conflict from one month to the next month, when we ask the same thing.
So last year it was 48,000. Was it about the same the year before or what, or was it more? Okay.
So sometimes, if it goes up like that, 30 is what we budgeted in the past, and it went up to 48. What Kathy's saying is, we're thinking that was an anomaly, and it's not necessarily going to be that way every year. It's not like it's going to go up that much every year, so we're hoping that's a fluke, and so not to just match that.
You can't really base it off of this year.
Are those substitutes only for SPED?
no, they'll work wherever they need.
So your regular substitute, we find in your SPED line?
No, I don't.
It's in both.
No, it's in both. I'm budgeting for it. I don't know where I specifically put it. I have to go back and look at my detailed notes, but I have 2 lines there. One for support staff and one for teachers, because I'm able to run the payroll system because I have them specifically coded as substitutes. So I can see that there are support staff subs and there are teacher subs. And obviously there's different grading as well.
So I guess my question is, because I'm trying to put together where that $200,000+ came from. And I'm hearing 2 paras contracted,
Additional paras.
okay, and $30,000, which could have been split.
It could have been split. I'll have to go back and look. I do for the tables and
2 paras and 30 grand is not,
And-
I can imagine you're paying your parents that much.
One pair makes over.
And we had a teacher's agreement that, and changing over staff, I'm budgeting what the staff is like for next year, what we're talking about. I'm budgeting using the actual staff we have right now. If you have staff leave and come in and run at a higher rate,
Is that what happened this year with?
I can't say that for sure.
If we
But
get
I'm
a
going
change-
back in the manual, especially
There are 3 special ed, 3.5 special ed teachers that are in the teacher contract. So they have it as part of that increase.
I work at a school with several people down, we have 4 special.
Okay, so that would be
Yeah.
part,
I think that's a lot, but that's,
well, that's the 4th piece that would be in that line.
so my next question would be, if you're going off the numbers for this year with your staff count, and you said insurance increased 9%, how come we are way over 9% in the insurance healthcare?
because of last year what the staff was. The change in the, it's done by actual people. I've taken the bill that we had last month to see who is on what plan. You know, people have babies, so they increase their plans. People change, the staffing changes. Yes, the rate increases, absolutely. But I've taken the bill and taken how many are teachers, how many are support staff. There's not a whole lot of them, but it's a change in staffing. So if we had a buyback, or someone, which there isn't a buyback, if we had someone who did not take insurance last year, then that person left, and a new person came in and is on a family plan, there's an automatic $42,000. That's how big this swing has to be.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions about special ed? We could go back to anything, so if you think of another question, we can definitely go back. So the next section, I talked about regular special ed, the next section is guidance and health services. And I think that
Yes.
it starts on page 3. There are a few sections, I'm not hitting on every section, because some are really small and straightforward. But it starts on page 3 and ends at the top of page 4. So you can see guidance is our counselor. So that's one position who is in the teacher's contract. So when you see wages, that's one position next to counselor. And then the health services, you can see it's in parentheses because we're no longer contracting for health. We will hire for the nurse.
How much is that person gonna make? Is that an hourly or is that a salary?
Salary, they're recognized in the contract, so that as what will be following.
And is that person like a 40-hour, like it's in full-time? So they would qualify for like a full-time benefits?
That's right. Contribute to New Hampshire retirement, health and dental.
I will say, whatever so we've been budgeting a certain amount for this Huggins contract. Whatever is above and beyond that, we heard from the attorney, that would have to be in a separate warrant article. So if it's an extra 38,000, just that much will have to be in the warrant article, because that wasn't approved in the previous year. Just want you to be aware of it.
Has that contract hasn't been done yet, has it?
As far as the salary schedule, the board is negotiating that.
And are you basing it upon the current nurse that we have now?
Yeah, an average.
I'm doing an average. I'm not doing it based on her.
So will then that position then get posted? So she would have to then reapply?
She would have to not reapply, she's never.
Or she'd have to apply, yeah, that's.
So the next section I want to highlight is improvement of instruction, and that's on page 4. So you can see there's your range there. Improvement of instruction includes staff development, the 11,000, that's the professional development that was negotiated as part of the teacher's contract. Instructional improvement is 8,000, that's part of the principal's contract. Travel is 0, because that's not in the contracts. And then you can also see educational media services. That's the next. Yeah, that ends on the top of page 5. That is the part-time library media specialist.
Is that job still posted? Like, have we filled that?
They just, yes, voted to approve that. We just found someone.
And because that one's, wait, is this the assistant position? So you like the actual, we'll have a real
Very
deal?
excited, real deal.
That's exciting.
Part-time, it's very exciting.
It is really exciting.
It is. She's going to be great. She's fantastic.
Okay.
So that's what that is. Part-time library media specialist, real deal. The next part, administrative and support services. Which, oh yeah. So, yeah, page 5 is Office of the Superintendent, so that's the SAU contract. There's a log on the fire.
Watch this.
In here.
Don't shut it off.
Watch it was blowing there.
I just said it's 62.
So cold for me.
I cranked it out. Oh, thank
I'm
you.
doing a little.
Pay enough taxes, you can just take it all in.
It's in my book. So at the bottom of page 5, that Office of the Superintendent, it's not just me, that's SAU services. So SAU service increase, that's the formula-driven, 56,140.
So who does that involve?
That includes the entire SAU services. So that includes human resources, payroll, grants management, accounts payable, what else?
Superintendent, assistant superintendent, curriculum director, special education director, and the business administrator, and the transportation supervisor.
issuing all the checks, calculating payroll, benefits, all that. Right. Principal's office, so we're moving to page 6. Office of the principal. So that's page 6. That includes the principal and the administrative assistant. And again, 3.3% cost of living. That's what we proposed for all of that. I know about this, talked about as far as, how are we proposing for the non-staff? So that's what we proposed, is 3.3%. The dues fees, principal association membership is $600. And then you'll see fiscal services, banking fees is $3,000. That is also at the bottom of page 6. So that's like for the audit. So then on page 7, operations and maintenance, you see the operating business services there. So the wages for this section are your 2 hourly custodial staff. So that's who the wages are for in this section. For repairs and maintenance, we're requesting $15,000. This is something that's discretionary, but it's $12,000 currently, and we've already spent $10,400, and it's only November. So there are repairs and maintenance that are needed in the school, a lot of painting projects and so on to upkeep the school. So we did propose $15,000.
For the capital, we have this capital reserve funds, right? Then for the capital,
Trust.
yeah.
I have included for you the totals on that.
But have you been able to utilize, so for like special ed services, we've got this pretty big chunk of money in that. Were there any situations where you could have maybe pulled?
So those are not intended for meeting operational obligations.
No, I understand that, but has there been anything that has happened unexpectedly?
Yes.
Where you could have pulled from that and saved on the budget?
So a good example of this is the board recently had a hearing for the water project. And so they voted to approve
about 15.
$15,000. So that was unanticipated, where the levels they weren't totally unacceptable according to the state levels, but they were right there, right borderline. That's when we had second men come in, we had a second, we looked at a second company, and the board voted to withdraw from the maintenance trust for that purpose, because that wasn't budgeted, but that was urgent to address that. So I think that's underway in second next week. So those are definitely there. It's true that, having that is helpful for unanticipated costs, not necessarily the regular operational, especially special education. We would have one family move in, and that student's already had an out-of-district placement, and then, the district is on the hook. So it is good to have those amounts high. Also, I want to mention the service agreements in operation and management and maintenance. That includes a long list of contracts. So the fire alarms, locks, the service for the boiler, JP Pest, we have to have the pest people come out, security, as I mentioned, water testing is required every year beyond this project, heating. Electricity is also in this section. This is the last year of the 3-year locked-in rate, and we'll be going out to bid for the next rate, the next contract for the consortium contract. All right.
What was that for?
Electricity.
What was that? Were you able to get that information to Kate Bazar about the potential solar for the electric bill? We did. Perfect.
Okay. So that was operating, carrot up. That's pretty straightforward. Moving on to page 8, transportation and technology. The regular transportation, 3 bus drivers, we propose a 3.3% increase, but as Heather mentioned, they're going to have a meeting and discuss a plan for the bus driver wages. So this may be the proposal, it may be a different proposal. Also, special education transportation, I want to bring that up, that's also on page 8. So special education transportation, we do as much in-house as possible with the drivers you already have. Sometimes that's not enough, because if one-off, if someone has to go to an extra replacement, we have to contract. Sometimes Governor Wentworth drivers are available, and Middleton can just utilize the Governor Wentworth, contract with Governor Wentworth. Otherwise, we have to go outside, and even Governor Wentworth has to do the same thing, because you only have so many people and so many vehicles, and those groups have to still happen. So they're in-house and contracted as needed.
How many drivers do we have and how many running buses? No, two. Well, yeah, I was thinking of 2 buses in the little bus.
But there's also there, but it's coming up.
Right, I think there's 3. There's 2 big buses and the little bus.
Yeah,
And that'd be a little van somewhere, but
yeah, that
So Kathy's going to be looking that up. And then I just want to mention the debt service. Special transportation, vehicle servicing, technology. Oh, I was mentioning, we're requesting for summer project support for technology. That's why there's an additional 3,000 requested there, because a lot of the work that custodians, maintenance, technology, they do is over the summer. Currently, we don't have them over the summer, so that would afford us some summertime for a technology specialist. And then, oh yeah, the principal that's on page 9, that's the debt service. So bond redemption paid annually to the New Hampshire Municipal Bond Bank. So that's the overview of the budget document. I also included in this PowerPoint, mentioned the trust fund balances. So this is on the second to last page. These are the balances that are currently in the trust fund for the district. So you can see special education, a little over $372,242.99 of the bus fund, over $144,000. Technology, $62,000. Construction and repairs, over $270,000. So for a total of over $849,000. So that is good for the district for those unanticipated funds. We'll propose to the board has to decide this and review and discuss this and consider what, if anything, to propose for adding into warrant articles for this next year. But I did include what was included last year. Last year, maintenance capital reserve to add $75,000, special ed $7,000, for the bus 5, the DPT position, article, and then new would be for the nurse.
So with this nurse one, does this include social security and Medicare?
It includes the FICA, it includes the wages, it includes the cost of level, it's already,
It's already in the budget.
yeah,
Okay.
She did the research.
Huh?
I did see the
No, I know that. I'm just asking because we seem to be always under budgeted for FICA, so I just wanted to make sure that this warrant article for the approximately 38,000 would also include the amount for that as well. So that's why I'm asking. Also, I think it would probably be a good idea for the school board to think about adding a reserve for like furniture expenses and stuff like that. I'm actually surprised we don't have one.
Great time to have a trust for that, or?
Yeah,
say reserve?
or yeah, I guess you guys call it trust funds for the school. So, yeah, or your capital reserve as mentioned down on the bottom of this one. But yeah, that's all I've got.
So does anybody have any other questions for us?
Well, that was helpful.
did you get that number?
So there's 2 full-size yellow buses. There's the half bus, which is the wheelchair bus, and then you've got 2 Dodge Caravans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's six vehicles that the district owns, and you have, I think, 5 drivers. One of them is a spare driver, but you have 3 regular education drivers and special education drivers.
Does that include, Dave, when he was in your meeting, I'm sorry, I have a cold.
That's all right.
When you're in the meeting on Wednesday, he mentioned that one of the drivers was heading to Maine, that Maine and I, so is that 5 drivers, or is that 4 drivers? Or do we still have 5?
We're time budgeting for 5 because we
Okay.
need 5. So hopefully you'll get a, I do believe you do have a, I think the special, the transportation director, that I think they do have. Which is good.
I have a question, but it's not technically, I guess, really budget related. So for transportation for Middleton, that runs throh Governor Wentworth? So, or is that what you're saying, like they're the supervisors of the transportation we have here?
Yeah.
So if they said that they didn't want to bus a child, who would that be, who would that address? If the bus drivers here were uncomfortable busing a child?
The bus driver should talk to the transportation director, which then would investigate that.
Okay.
Or the building principal, just depending on the season.
That's all I did.
That's all the chain of command.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work. Thank you very much. What?
How we doing?
Yeah,
So that,
yeah.
thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you.
Bonnie, when do you think that you guys will be ready to,
So I have a preliminary budget right now. We were waiting for the insurances to come in. We didn't know what the pieces were gonna be. So now that we have that, hopefully our next, selectmen meeting, we can discuss that and get it in.
Your next meeting is what, it's next Monday?
Yeah, next Monday.
Okay. All right, which should be about 83.33% for the town right now.
We are at. Okay, that's not right.
But
Well, it says total expenses 170. That's not right.
is she also including like the CRFs and stuff?
That's what I'm wondering.
Not supposed to, that's okay.
Tracy, there was an extra over there. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess that the workshops, resources, equipment under the tax collectors, because we had to get a new tax collector.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know who's done some.
This is, okay, it's budgeted, but kind of, but not. So we're just over on the tax bills line already. Are we, any idea of how close we are to having tax bills done? Like, have we set a tax rate? Where are we set
No,
on?
we don't have a tax rate yet, I can tell you that.
What's
Just
the holdup?
last report from the auditors today, the MS
535?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just did it, so,
Okay, and then upload it, and then we should still get one?
we should,
Tomorrow.
I'm just waiting for a couple more signatures on that, so.
The computer software lines, is that all, I mean, I know it's been separated, is that all Avatar or,
Where are you looking?
so like the one for 4150-60 for the collector computer software line is over by $167.20.
It's probably because we switched everything over, I would imagine.
Switched everything over to what,
Who was it we switched to, Tracy?
MRI? That's for finance, not
Is that the one that Teresa switched over?
That's what I'm wondering.
for like the credit card machine, probably.
Or with that, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's with,
That was
okay,
after we
Okay.
voted on the budget.
Right.
yep, all right. But the treasurer's salary line, I'm assuming, is almost done. So she's at 96.10%.
How come she's so close to being over?
She's been putting in extra time helping with the audit.
So then if she maxes out, like, where are we pulling that money from? The deputy treasurer that you don't have?
That's a good question.
I mean, we're gonna allow a part-timer to go over their budgeted salary, but we can't build in an overtime line for our full-time employee. That is the one that should be working with the audit. And is she putting in 40 hours? Or is she not, even with all the extra stuff, she's not putting in close to 40 hours a week?
I don't think she is, I just know because I know Tony.
Right, yeah.
Is it common for the police?
Well, yeah, I mean, so
Yeah, she's-
it would count both,
Okay.
like, so,
And that one-
because it's for the same employer, so the town has to watch her hours for that too.
So this is treasurer, is it really treasurer and, or is?
No, she's
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
different
she's
line,
the
yes.
secretary out of the other.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 42, 10, 25.
But you guys, just get the health insurance back, is that what you said?
Yes.
Are we seeing a 9.4% increase?
Oh, no.
What are we seeing?
What was it, Tracy, do you remember what the insurance?
Is it higher?
I believe so. I don't recall what it was though.
And they don't pay 9% as well.
They can change it like that.
Is it?
Well, the town pays 90, because because of the warrant article a few years ago,
Yeah.
that the town voted for 10% for the employees. Yeah. So we had one that was built into the employees to 25.
It's supposed to be 25, and then I made a motion to bump it down to 20, so that it was at 20, and then 2 years ago, they made it down to 10.
Yeah. The ZBA one, is that, the ZBA legal line, that's still being offset, is that still need to be offset by the warrant article?
But it was only what, 15,000 one article?
Yeah. Oh, you weren't like over by 13.
Has that been, has a set of decision been made by the state?
Still waiting.
Still
I thought they
waiting.
wanted the 30th.
I thought they had 30 days from the day of the hearing.
It was 60.
It's 60.
It's on the 30th is the deadline. But, yeah, I mean, so hopefully we'll hear something. We're supposed to hear something by the
I think so. We should look at Mr. Ferguson's uniform line. Yeah, I haven't seen
Yeah, that's
it.
because his vehicle was taken out of there.
I was like, I must be looking
Yeah.
at the wrong line.
I think he
No, he actually wanted it taken out of that line,
What is it again?
his new vehicle.
Oh,
It was the outfitting, I believe, for the top.
Yeah.
He wanted it to stand out, right?
Yeah, it was a one, like, on a flying happen.
He's the best dressed officer around.
Phones is over those red sneakers.
Yep.
Vehicle maintenance for the fire, the EMS. Is that because of, I'm just wrong here. Because the new fire truck and all that? Or,
Which line is that, 422008? Well, that's building and maintenance. I mean, 422010.
so, oh, they went over their gasoline and then they went over on their fuel lines. And then for uniforms. Sorry, I was looking at.
Yes,
Oh,
they've
and the
gone,
fire
they've had a lot of
Yeah,
new
fire,
hires.
For the uniforms, that isn't included in the turnout here, is it?
Not
They went
sure.
over on the uniforms. So is that for the turnout gear? But do we not have, do they not have like a capital reserve fund where they can pull that from? Or does,
I think they do.
I mean, look at your,
I mean, if they do, like probably not, I guess, pulling from it. Fire gear, fire gear.
is the member expense line for fire, that's where we pay them out of, that's the, right, that's the line.
That's where you pay your firefighters.
Okay, all right.
That's not the on-call, right?
It's not the on-call.
No, on-call is
However,
somewhere.
Jared had asked a couple months ago at a select board meeting if he needed a driver, and it was a firefighter, could he pay him out of the EMS side? Because they're technically not doing firefighter anything, they're just driving.
Or would they have to be at least a DNR to drive?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh.
they would have to go there.
Yeah, they're not gonna-
Well, I would imagine that.
And then definitely they, in the EMR role,
Yeah.
it would be out of that.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows he's tight on his budget, he's gone to every other or even once a month now,
Yes.
training.
Oh, wow.
They have the firefighter one class.
How many days a week are they able to cover with staff being here?
We've been able to cover all the calls lately, from what I understood.
Awesome.
And help out others.
Yes, and help out other towns as well.
That's what the meeting said last week, they was able to help out other towns.
But like, do they have people, like I notice, like when I'm driving back to school, stuff like I see cars here, but how many days a week is he able to, like, is he able to, staff?
It's a minimum of
3 days a week?
no benefits more. I know he tries to stay up if you get 2 people, a little different day.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like he's, doing some things right.
Haley's getting
Right, you would expect to
Yeah,
see
yeah, you-
an increase in his budget because of the fact that he has more people, he's getting more and stuff. We're not paying out $500 to Middleton every single.
Yeah, they
seven.
raised it to 750.
Right,
yeah, I think we're at.
yeah, but, you know,
I mean, they were spending, what they would spend in
Right.
1 year, they could.
right, so you understand and justify why his budget is over on gas and all
Oh,
that.
yeah.
So,
Oh, I did. I actually did, I cranked it up quick because I'm like, I got my answers.
it was.
My toes were numb. I'm like, we are here on our own time for free, at least you can just keep us
Yes.
warm,
She is.
or get us thick as we.
Do we know if have we billed the school at all for diesel and gasoline yet?
We should have. It's supposed to be done monthly, I thought.
I think we went over it took this year because we got the bill when we closed out last year. It came like 3 or 4 months late, so that's why like our budget's a little off on our diesel on our end. And when I asked for an explanation, so yes, we bill.
Okay, because I thought they billed like quarterly. Or monthly, whatever, I just wasn't sure, but.
I'll find out.
I know that it was talked about, I think, I remember, maybe the previous select board meeting about the, trash. Do we know how much, like, how much that is actually gonna increase that in January?
Sadly, yes.
But
Yeah.
they were originally saying like 40, right?
Right, and they brought it down another 20, so,
32 for a while, yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I mean, that's.
Better than,
Better than it was, but still.
it gives at least a little bit of wiggle room for everything else. What are we locked in for our, electricity?
We just had that new guy come and fill it, is it? No, it's
I
not
don't know,
filling,
is that
it's,
what is it?
yeah.
What's that? Not asking for
Whatever
any
it
reason, but
is.
it works and all like. What is,
They adjust it for us.
what's the name of the company?
I don't remember.
So like the supplier could change at like any moment because of the
Right,
kilowatt per
yes,
hour?
yeah.
Okay. But who does the delivery? Is it still Eversource?
Yes.
Yes.
God, because we can't get rid of Eversource.
I don't think anybody in the has
No.
anything but.
It's so cool on us.
Right.
Yeah, what do we use for internet? Is it consolidated?
Yep.
Okay.
So have you guys looked into something other than consolidated?
They look that.
Has-
Trying to get the phones fixed, which is involving consolidated and.
They were really terrible to work with.
Yeah, which we just got the phones knocked down
Like
by
400?
400 and something, I believe it
Oh,
was.
wow.
We had to fight and fight and fight. So we spent a
Because
lot
like
of time.
Spectrum has a
But-
business section too, that they have a,
Yes, Spectrum does. I don't know that they would necessarily be much cheaper, but. it could,
you know, for like the
could
first
work.
2 years and then
Yeah.
turn on you.
So,
And just so you all know, the Board of Selectmen, we will be having a Christmas party for the employees on December 6th here. What we get time, 6 to 9.
Do I give everybody we're invited? All
Details will be coming out,
December, it's the 6th?
yes,
It's a
Saturday.
I mean, she just said that, but I don't know that it's open to boards. We're home this year.
Oh, I thought it was, I'm sorry.
No, I said
It's like that Geico commercial where you are not intended.
Charlie Brown.
So just,
I think you
Hold on.
but
I mean, a quick question, so I know that normally the CRX are supposed to be, not on here for us. But for the fire department truck, didn't the town vote to, no, we didn't.
But we had a warrant article to use.
We did, to use the 515, but we were only raising appropriating 31,000. I only asked because the year-to-date budget is 31,000, and obviously what we spent is 515,000, which is fine. But I was, never mind. Let me see, written between. Otherwise, I don't think I have any other, actually, I just got one more, and it's on the highway block grant. So 61,860, that's what we got for the highway block grant, is that right?
Yeah, I'm sure it's up.
But we spent 77,343.
That doesn't-
I just pulled out that number, those numbers, but that specific one, I want to say balance. Don't quote me for what's on it or what the balance is, 25,000
Okay.
and change.
Of what's remaining,
Yes.
so something's there that should be
Yeah.
there. Okay. And how is or has it started yet for transferring over to MRI? No. All right,
Pull that on.
Yep.
that makes sense. All right.
We're just the argument. Because there's
I hope so.
I don't know anything else
About the welfare, it's a good take of it last.
So Nicole, I just looked at your email, so you'll forward us the information for the hourly rates once you get them?
No, you should have two. So I replied, because I didn't know I'd get that fast back from the SAU. So then you should have a second one that has the attachment, unless I didn't attach it.
Oh, here it is. So I gave the example for the NHMA as,
Yeah.
um, for the NHMA, just like as an example, and it doesn't cost anything to do, when I say like an analysis. So for any, so this selectmen, so like Tracy could go and log on to their NHMA, the NHMA site, and they could go ahead, and if they wanted to look at what police are being paid, they can go in and pull up like all the police. And what it is all of the towns report to NHMA what they pay their patrol officer, sergeant, police chief. They enter, and each town enters in that information, and then it just goes into a spreadsheet, and then any town can go ahead and print that off and then look at it as part of like NHMA's site. So I didn't know if this school has like a school state site where you can do the same thing versus just, what I was looking to get is instead of having the bus driver saying, well, I saw her online, or I talked to somebody that knows somebody that is a bus driver for Freedom and they're making, you know, $50 an hour, and it's all hearsay, whereas opposed to like, when you go to NHMA, it's a pretty solid resource to use for information. It's like, it's reliable.
The school board association tracks that down.
So I, you know, I didn't know if you guys use NHMA or if you guys had your own.
If you use their policy data,
Yeah.
That's probably how much we pay this year.
but I don't
Oh,
know if
that's
it's
twenty twenty. That's probably still, how much are 3.1?
I mean, I think the benefit
This
of
is
doing
the
it
interest.
is we're essentially getting them into what would be
The interest.
collective bargaining agreement, or bargaining agreement legally associated with it. We're getting them to the pay scale and finding out what they're looking for back to us.
Do you know if those paper positions are still posted? Which one? The two that are coming, or the three that are
I
coming?
don't, I meant to ask them that, but
I forgot to ask, say, I mean, that's a huge difference in money.
yes.
How can, do you have, or can you find out how much the contracted paras are making?
It won't be, well, it breaks down to what the company gets versus what the employee gets, because
Yeah, it's not the same, right?
Yeah.
I know,
So we would release it like in the bill as like the full, like what you pay to the company.
Right.
are you both on the finance committee? Just like an off-the-cuff question. What did you think of when you saw this number?
I was shocked. I mean,
Do you
it's,
think you can sell that to the voters? I mean,
and unfortunately,
it's a nice
14% of it is contracted. I mean, well, special education alone, 14% of that 20% increase is special education costs alone. And there's nothing that we can do about that. We can't, even if the budget gets voted down, we still have to pay those. I mean, we're
So how
legally
do you-
required to provide those services to these children.
I
And
understand that I work in this.
no, I know, so it was, I mean, we were shocked. And we knew this, how it was gonna go over.
This is the first time I'm seeing it this evening, and I will say,
We haven't voted on it, and we have not, as a board, talked about the DBT position, putting that in warrant articles, so that discussion hasn't happened yet. You know, there's some split, on the board about that. You know, the nurse salary, we're going back to the table on that. So what we can, at this point, try to control and rein in for spending, we're certainly doing.
so unfortunately, I think that comes at a loss always to the students, because this is wages and insurance, and it takes the pencils out of their hands, literally.
Yeah, we're, we are really screwing our kids over with the poor management of the school and how it's been operated. Just reading, I haven't even been able to sit down and fully read all the contracts at once, but just reading how poorly the contracts are written up for SAU services and written up for the teachers union. I mean, it gives us no, it doesn't even give us equal standing. And I mean, and just even the tuition with the SAU and that contract is to go up that much, it's, you know, I don't,
Something that we haven't discussed as a board is having our own legal representation separate from the SAU. Have it never, so going into those negotiations, relying on the SAU.
That's right.
So that's something I think needs to be addressed. and we're gonna have to work on that.
it's like, I think a lot of things need to be looked at in a different way because it's spiraled to the point where it's gotten so out of control that it's going to hurt a lot of people. And then, I don't know, it was like very poor timing to present the test results. And then, oh, here's the budget. It's like, oh yeah, the test results are just, they're horrible. I mean, it's like, well, no wonder why, like, the kid at Dunkin' Donuts has a heart attack when I hand him like $1 coin. You know, it's like, they're testing that poorly. What are they learning? What are they testing? I mean, they're.
Being on the inside, I will say that it's society, it really is.
I know you
I'll be
can't,
the person that will blame parents all day long if there are parents that don't discipline their kids.
I get
And they
it.
go to school and they hit their teachers and they kick their teachers and they disrupt an entire class of 20 children.
But I think that's when like but I have faith like our new principal is actually gonna have like the backbone and say like, the buck stops here. We're not tolerating the garbage that was tolerated in the past. So I think that will help, but when you have like almost half the kids not even at the grade level that they should be at, like, that's pretty scary. Like, you've got almost half of them not making it at their grade level. And it's like, and as each year progresses, if they don't catch up at some point, they're just becoming further and further behind. And so we're, you know, after 12 years of school, we kick these kids out into the real world and like, they're screwed. But what's even more concerning is like, they're the ones that are gonna be taking care of us. So I'm like, just put a DNR on the I mean, it's like, part of me feels like, you know what, you either pay for it up front or you pay for it long term. Like, if we can't get these kids to be successful as adults, we're gonna pay for it for the rest of their life and society is going to. But at some point, the school board does need to step it up and hold the SAU and the school accountable to do their job. And like, the bar needs to be raised and they need to raise with it, with what's going on.
Segueing, because I have a completely different question.
Go for it.
About the nurse, right? So the nurse position over there. Is there certain qualifications that they have to have? Like, do they have to be a registered nurse? Can they be a medical assistant? Like, what is it?
They have to have their associates in nursing in order to be a school nurse. That's state of New Hampshire guidelines.
Okay.
So at one point, Dover, Rochester, and other towns had LNAs in their school, and then they were I believe they may have been overseen by someone, but they had LNAs because it was a licensing thing. So like a medical assistant, we're not licensed, we're certified.
Yeah.
We couldn't do it because we directly report under a medical doctor or a nurse practitioner, some kind of license.
Supports society, so they need to be self-sustaining. They need someone, they don't need to be able to do this in their own right, because there is no one else in the school that will oversee their role.
But I know at one point in Rochester, like Maple Street Magnet School, they had an LNA in there as the school nurse.
I don't doubt it's possible, actually, I think it's feasible with this, with Middleton Elementary.
But an LNA can have their own.
Proceed. by.
Or has it been looked into seeing, like, can you hire a paramedic? They're a licensed person, they could run an ambulance, they can push more drugs than a nurse can, a registered nurse can. I mean, I kind of almost would be like, I would rather have a paramedic than a registered nurse, because if my kid falls and whacks his head out on the school, then the paramedic is more equipped to handle a trauma versus a lot of school nurses.
Collective bargaining agreement has.
So have we looked into saying, okay, we're not gonna go that route at all, we're gonna look into
We would be in violation of the contract.
Portsmouth Regional? So you've gone into a contract already?
They have to be a minimum of a registered nurse first before they.
So I guess I would
So
say,
in terms of what the position is, in terms of like the pay scale, and that's what we have negotiating power over, but whether or not it's a nurse, we don't.
okay,
This is
so
what we're
can
asking
you,
for doing.
I guess, so Huggins doesn't want to do it anymore, it's not beneficial to them. Can we say, okay, we're still not gonna go with the union, we're gonna see if what
They
does.
got into the collective bargaining agreement. The nurse is written in as an attendant to the collective bargaining agreement.
And was that written in when you guys agreed to the teachers, or not, was that written into the contract with the teachers' contract?
Yes. My understanding is that it was all part, it's all part of the same contract. So it was in what was going on.
So how come no one spoke up to say, back up here, we don't want to have the nurse written in as mandated? I mean, you were a part of that, were you not, like on the school board?
I don't think it's not written in that it's mandated. It's written in that if we hire a school nurse, they are part of that CBA. That's how it's written in there.
So how come you didn't negotiate that out of the contract?
It doesn't say they have to, it doesn't say that we have to hire a school nurse. It says that if we hire a school nurse, they will be a part of that contract.
So how come, what I don't understand is how come that didn't get addressed to be altered to say, like, to not have to have the school nurse be a part of the contract?
I don't have an answer for you for that. That's what was recommended by legal, and that's what we did.
And you guys didn't question it?
No, I did not question it.
Because once again, the legal is for the SAU up at Wolfboro, and all of them go one way, but they can afford to go that way. It's just, once again, it's disappointing because it keyholes us into having to potentially pay a lot more.
Go ahead. Okay. For the next time the CBA rolls around, because I don't know, like what the wording is. So say we hire someone, right, for the school nurse that holds an associate's degree, because that is the minimum requirement per RSA that they can have to be a school nurse, right? However, per that same RSA, any school nurses hired after August 25th of 2019 that hold an associate's degree in nursing shall be enrolled in a registered nurse to Bachelor of Science in Nursing program, and they have to complete that program within 6 years of the date of hire.
The track and what the requirements are part of what's being negotiated.
So, but
So we can't get into any details about it, it's part of the negotiation.
part of the negotiation of the CBA that's already here,
Not the CBA, because we're negotiating the terms of the new position for the nurse.
But you're reading what the state
I'm
says.
reading what the state law says.
Right.
So what I'm questioning, so is the school board actually gonna, if you hire somebody with an associate's degree, are you gonna make it or put in there like a provision so that they have to, at least by a minimum, stay with the school district for a certain amount of years while they get their bachelor's degree? Or because they have to, legally, they have to get a bachelor's degree for 6 years? And if Middleton Elementary School is going to reimburse for tuition, which I don't know if they do or not, I don't know if that's gonna be negotiated or not, that should be a consideration that the school board takes into it, you know, for when we do hire somebody. Should it be someone that only holds an associate's degree? It's basically what I'm asking, saying.
Because we don't want to get stuck like we have on the town side, where we pay for somebody to go to school, and we either pay for them and they fail, and they don't meet it, and then we spend that money, or we pay for it, they succeed, and then they jump ship and they go somewhere else. I mean, especially like, okay, I'll make chump change over here in the school side, and I'll have it easy while I go to school, and then once I get my BSN, I can go over to the hospital and make more, potentially a lot more money.
There's nothing in there written for tuition reimbursement. There's $11,000 allotted next school year for continuing teacher education to build up with so that's it. There's nothing written in the CBA that we're reimbursing anybody for their schooling expenses.
So I would hope when you guys negotiate that, if that gets brought up, because I'm sure it would, especially if there is an ADN going in and knowing that they have to go for a BSN, because it is a chunk of money, that they turn around and they say, well, I'll do it, but I want reimbursement, and then they try to negotiate that, and whoever is there is like, okay, because they feel like they're desperate and they need to negotiate that.
I am not by any means saying that we shouldn't.
No, I'm not saying that we should or we shouldn't, but I think that either way, we need to think of what is the best interest of the town financially. So yes, if we go ahead and say, like, we're gonna help you with your schooling,
Right.
you've got to have some kind of a commitment or reimburse us if you jump ship.
Yeah, that's
To protect us. I have no problem.
Yeah, we've had people who've accepted positions and left before the end of their term, and they've had to pay the fine to us back.
As they should, right.
So you can force that on the CBA.
I just hope that it's,
I mean, if we voted that they had to pay.
well, you have to like leave them go afterwards, so that would take money. If they feel like, oh, we're gonna. You know that. You know, like.
Well, we go on to the welfare.
Yep.
The only difference I see in her salary is a 2% increase in wages. Everything else stayed the same.
You guys are working on your
Welfare.
proposal now, right? First, like, what are you guys looking at for increases?
Oh, I don't think I have it on. It's off the office. Oh, no.
Maybe it was like 30%.
Yeah, I think it was. She is 2%.
When's the last time there was a raise?
If you take trash and all the contracts that have gone up due to inflation, we are over the 2%. That's not even including a 3% COLA raise.
But for how many years now we've stayed below that 2% and done it? And
I understand, I do understand that.
So the welfare's asking for, is that the same amount for the mileage and meetings?
yes,
It's, okay, that,
yeah, it's a total of 100. It's broken down. She just broke it down.
Okay, and I know that it's pennies in the bucket at the end of the day,
Yeah.
but $100 in a budget line that she doesn't spend for her membership. She apparently doesn't go to any meetings. So why are we continuing to have a budget line if she's not actually going to utilize it?
I mean, that's one thing to
You know what I
discuss when we
mean?
go over the budget, yes.
and then the cell phone use, is there a cheaper way? I mean, I know it's only $500, but
Also,
She's the only one with a separate phone.
and we haven't even spent 300 out of our phone.
When did she come on? Do you remember?
She's been on for over a year.
no, because she's been on for like 3 or 4 years.
Almost 3 years.
Roxanne,
I said over a year.
Yeah, but I couldn't remember how long she'd been in the.
so right now, everybody else uses their own cell phone?
Yes.
Do they get
I
reimbursed?
don't blame her though.
No, I don't either, but I mean, there's
Sherry
apps.
does not, Sherry forego is so that the money can go back into the budget.
Yep.
Everybody else does.
But there's apps that you can now download, correct? Like there's like cell phone, like, like
She
her,
got an old phone.
But I didn't get all the downloads now.
no, she's got a,
She's got her own.
Yes.
Someone else is separate.
yeah,
She
she's
didn't
got
want to use her own.
she's got a little prepaid jitterbug, I have 40.
Oh, my gosh.
And she works at a school also.
Because it says monthly, right, this is a monthly.
But she was just thinking
She's
like,
always
I
been
don't-
too
I have to
sensitive.
have myself to work,
I don't
and I
think
use my app, so when I call, it comes up as one of the office numbers. So nobody can turn around and like.
She doesn't have, welfare doesn't have a desk phone over at the, town office. And that's right there.
Looking at going, so like they're switching us and we're getting rid of our desk phones at the state level and they're switching us to a WebEx, which is an all computer-based.
Like Jabba.
Your phone is actually right through your computer.
Yep.
But it's
To my headset.
I don't like.
or this comes up like Teams. You're just like right there on the speaker on your computer. Yeah, some of my judges are losing their minds.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if we can go into a system like that, it would give you flexibility to add people at a lesser rate to allow them to have it on their cell phones.
Because I was gonna say with consolidated, you can like I know you can at least forward calls to like a cell phone number. I just don't know if you can set it. I want to say you can set it up that when you call, it's still depending on to reflect the phone number in the town hall. If I'm,
I thought that's, because Carl, I think that's what Carl can do.
he probably forwards it to some.
He does.
Right. But I would look up on a law on that because the bank has to pay us to use our cell phones, like for our VPNs. Because we were doing it for free and then there was an issue. And since we have to use our personal device to do VPN, they now have to pay us like a stipend every month to use our personal phones.
I just wonder if it would be worth looking into.
like
see,
$5,
what's
but-
more-
It's just, it has, because it's something to do with the storage,
I mean,
either
it's
taking
only
up storage and
$4.50
and using
now,
internet
like,
or
if you keep
hotspot.
looking and find something that's more.
It's $5 like a month they have to give us.
I also
not even,
thought
like,
that
worth
there
it.
was like an issue where like for using your personal cell phones.
There is an open to.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Huge liability.
Yeah.
If I wanted to 91 of your phone, then.
You can't unless you use it for work purposes.
Right, but that's what I mean, if it's
But so,
for
like,
work purposes. and
Anybody
something
that
that's
takes
91A.
anyone that's taken the phone stipend for the use of their personal phone, you can easily 91 in their phone.
Thanks.
No thanks.
Anything else?
Nope, I'm done.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second next meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So